We are on to round 2 of the recalls. After last year's races involving state legislators, now Governor Walker, Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Kleefisch, and these 4 Republican state senators are facing potential races. The recall efforts are escalating costs to taxpayers as well.
Into the millions of dollars, and some wonder just what will be accomplished no matter how these elections in the middle of terms turn out. Fox 11's on special assignment with Mark Leland, looking into the financial and political impact of the recalls.
Democrats hope the collection of 1 million signatures on recall petitions will accentuate the need and the desire of the people for a change in state leadership.
I think it's a big deal. I mean, I think that it's an important barrier, both numerically and psychologically, that over 1 million people, almost as many people, voted for Scott Walker in the 2010 governor's race, think he needs to go just 1 year into his term. Republicans see it another way.
We said from early on we thought with the activists they'd get enough signatures, but in the end we earned the trust, I should say, of the majority of citizens in our state back in the fall of 2010.
In fact, the 1 million recall signatures collected against Walker represent less than a quarter of the 4.3 million people who make up the state's voting age population. Nevertheless, both sides expect the petitions to be certified at some point, leading to only the 3rd statewide recall ever in U.S. history. And the recall election won't be cheap. The Government Accountability Board estimates a single election for the recall of governor, lieutenant governor, and 4 Republican state senators will run $9 million.
About 800,000 of that is what we anticipate our costs will be. The rest is for counties who print the ballots, but mostly for the municipalities, our clerk partners, who really run the elections, who hire the poll workers, who who put the machines out at the polling places, who bear all of those costs, who count up the ballots. It's really the cost is really going to be borne by local taxpayers.
And $9 million is just the start if a primary election is needed.
I would not be the least bit surprised if we had a Democratic primary for governor.
The GAB says then the cost jumps to $17 million.
If you want to blow $17 million because you don't like the way somebody voted, that's your right to do that. Do I personally think it's a good idea? No, I don't, even if it was a Democrat.
Republican State Senator Mike Ellis faces losing his position as president of the Senate if Republicans lose just 1 seat out of the 4 being challenged in a recall.
I think you can understand the uproar with the governor. But to start recalling assemblymen or recalling senators or recalling the city council guy in Appleton because you don't like how he voted on one issue, I think that's a big stretch.
Democrats are pushing the recalls, unhappy with Governor Walker's move soon after taking office last year to eliminate most collective bargaining rights for most state workers. Legislation also requires those workers to pay more of their pension and health care costs.
Union busting!
Protesters called it union busting and said it would lead to overcrowded classrooms, teacher layoffs, and more costs for taxpayers. While angry Democrats collected recall signatures over the past 2 months, Walker fought back, raising $5 million by the end of December and taking to the airwaves with commercials highlighting the benefits of his legislation for all Wisconsinites.
We saved the taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars and kept thousands of teachers, firefighters, and police officers on the job.
Ryan Lawler with United Wisconsin, the group behind the recall effort, is not swayed by Walker's campaign pitch.
I think what you see today is that the message that he was communicating with the people certainly wasn't something that resonated with the people.
The question remains, what will be the impact here if Governor Walker gets recalled and the Democrats take over the state Senate? Well, with Republicans still in control in the Assembly, the answer is likely nothing will get done here.
It's really to change the politics, to change the direction. So we hope to see Wisconsin return to the Wisconsin ideal, something a bit more progressive.
Democrats say they will work to undo what the Republican legislature has done. State Senator Ellis isn't convinced it will even come to that.
I still think in the final analysis, this will come down to whether or not the taxpayers of Wisconsin want to reclaim their right over their employees. That's what this is all about.
Both sides do agree working together politically for the state isn't likely to happen, no matter how the recalls turn out.
I think that once we recall Scott Walker and take back the state Senate, that we'll see a return to normalcy in the state.
This is going to be not only a pricey affair, but it's going to leave 10 years of divide in Wisconsin. We are not going to get back to normal here for at least a decade.
In addition to whatever recall elections take place this year, the balance of power in Madison could also be impacted by the November elections. All 99 assembly members are up for re-election, as well as half of the state Senate. I'm Mark Leland, Fox 11 News.
And there is more on all of the potential recall races available online through the On Politics tab at the top of our homepage.